Yeah, let's look at the stats because this is what, one of my friends put it in our group chat and she was like, "Can I throw a bomb out here?" And I was like, "Yeah, let's do it." And she put this out here and it just blew my mind because it didn't add up to what I was seeing. And so basically, for those of you who can't read it or if you're listening to this on audio, I'll read them out to you. We have 2.3 goals when Nketiah does not start and 2.1 goals, like average goals, when Nketiah starts. 2.1 Arsenal's XG when Nketiah does not start. 2.0 when Arsenal's XG when Nketiah starts. So that's like nothing. 11.2 shots from open play when Nketiah does not start. 12.1 shots when from open play when Nketiah does start. 1.5 open play XG when Nketiah does not start. 1.5 open play XG when Nketiah starts. 36.5 touches in the box when Nketiah does not start. 37.9 touches in the box when Nketiah does start. 0.9 XG difference when Nketiah does not start. 0.7 XG difference when Nketiah does start. 2.24 points when Nketiah does not start, and 2.2 points when Nketiah starts. So essentially what this is saying is that if there is any difference between Nketiah starting and not starting, it is marginal. It's marginal. Very, very marginal. So it's wild. Like, he doesn't make the team better, but he's not really making the team worse. And that does not add up with what I feel. I kind of feel like my feelings on Nketiah is just I just want to see somebody that maybe does fit my eye test, or I feel like makes us look free flowing. But if Arsenal do have access to the same data, and this might be why they're not as desperate not to play Nketiah. I think that's the reason why he plays. Because the facts are here. And I know people are like, well, stats can be manipulated. These stats are pretty straightforward, you guys. Like, there's enough there that says that, like, really, Arsenal performed pretty much similarly, whether he's on the pitch or not. And maybe it's just a matter of what we're seeing is not adding up to the eyes. But yeah, I found this to be quite interesting. And I love stuff like this because I think it just opens up your mind a little bit more and like make you actually really like what is my issue? I think my issue with Eddie is that I just don't think he's that good. And so when I see him out there on the pitch, I just get a little bit frustrated and everything becomes his fault when it probably just isn't. Because the stats weren't statting, guys. The stats weren't statting. So
I'll say this quickly. I think it's less of the fact that I think Eddie is a world beater. I think I've seen the price it costs to find a striker in this market in a system that we have other glaring holes that we have. It's one of those like, I prefer to eat at a restaurant, but I have rice at home. The rice is okay and it will fill me. And I think Eddie has shown time and time again that is he as good as Jesus? No. But he will do the job to get us to closer to our goals, which is we will win football games. Will it look as pretty as we want it to be? Probably not. But we will win football games. And he excels at things that other like I watched Spurs spend 60 mil on a backup striker and he went an entire calendar year without scoring a goal. I cannot imagine that happening at Arsenal. I cannot imagine that happening at Arsenal. We have a player that loves the club, that gives it his all, and on top of that, he actually produces. I think he was one of our top three attackers this season, the first 5 games. I think he started the season with a goal, won a pen, scored another goal, got a red card. But again, I think as Arsenal fans, we tend to value draws and drop point performances more than the ones we actually win. So
mm,
I don't know. I just think it's just a polarizing topic. And when I say, hey, give Eddie some time, they believe I'm saying Eddie is a world beater. He's the best thing since sliced bread.
mm.
And
And
you are wrong for thinking different.
that's the thing it's all about in the conversation. Like, people are like, those stats don't show anything. They do show that, like, we do not get catastrophically worse with Nketiah and the team. And most teams, except for Manchester City, don't necessarily play better with their backup striker. So it's not as big of a drop off as people are making it seem. Now, does that mean that he needs to be starting games? No, but when he is starting, it cannot be all on Eddie Nketiah. It can't. Those stats mean that there's something else there that's not clicking, something else there that means that like it's not just Nketiah. It could be a little bit him, but not enough for him to be probably as big of a conversation as he is. And we need to figure out what that is. Now, something else that stands out to me is that what that also shows to me is that there's not a big enough gap between Jesus and Nketiah. I actually think that if you look at the stats the other direction, there's not a big enough gap between Jesus and Nketiah for me. And that opens up the conversation a little bit more about how does Arsenal become a better team? We need a better striker because I think there actually should be a bigger gulf between Eddie and Jesus than there is. That's what I'm seeing. That actually alarmed me more because you look at it the other direction. It's like, well, why are the numbers so close? If Jesus is so much better than Nketiah, why are the numbers not numbering? They're just not. So Harper is saying that those stats don't prove what they think they do. They just show that Arsenal lack a decent striker. Eddie is taking up a spot that could be filled by somebody decent. And that's kind of like I think the more negative tone from it. But I think the tone really is that Arsenal probably do need a number 9, more clinical, more that's going to really be the difference between Arsenal. Like right now, we're just kind of hovering with two similar options. There should be another level. Like I do feel like, the bigger thing is, are we equipped to really push City? And I think with the options that we have, we're probably just maybe a star striker or a midfielder short. I think, that's kind of the conversation right now. And I actually think, like other people are saying, like midfield is a bigger concern to me and more of the stem of the issue in terms of like why we're not creating as much than just the strikers. Like we need more clinical finishers, but like there's something not quite right. And so I think a lot of our hopes and dreams for the season do kind of lie in whether Eddie and Jesus can put the chances away when they get them and whether or not the midfield can create them. And right now there's a little bit of a disconnect, but we're still building our lineup here, you guys. There's about 75% of you guys have voted for Emil Smith-Rowe to start in that left center mid position over Kai Havertz, but we've already kind of explained why Havertz should probably start. And to have Jorginho, Emil Smith-Rowe, and Odegaard, I feel like you're asking for trouble. You need somebody that's a little bit better off of the ball, a little bit more foundational. And although we're going to be seeing quite a few wall passes, from Kai Havertz, I think he just might be the better option on the day. Now, Reece Nelson is somebody that, I think a lot of people are impressed with. We're really impressed with against Brentford. It's so weird